Hey guys, today we are going to multiply monomials and raise monomials to powers to solve problems. And there was a typo on today's notes, but I have fixed it on my notes here, so you can copy it down. But what we're going to do is take this 3 and it belongs to the parentheses. So we're going to write 3 parentheses out just like I've done. And then we have a 5 and it belongs only to the y. So we write out 5 y's each time. And then we're going to multiply. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 more is 8. And then we count up our y's. We have 5, 10, 15. So it's 8y to the 15th. Let's try it together, and then we can come up with a rule together. So the first one here is this 3 belongs to the parentheses. So we're going to write out the parentheses 3 times. So it's going to be negative 3 x to the 4th times negative 3 x to the 4th times negative 3 x to the 4th. And that's equal to, we've got a 4 as an exponent, so we've got to expand that out again. So we've got negative 3 and then 4 x's. And then we've got to do it again, times negative 3 and 4 x's times negative 3 and 4 x's. So when you multiply negative 3 times negative 3, that's positive 9, times negative 3 is negative 27. And then we have 4, 8, 12 x's. We're going to do the same thing again, expanding it out. There's 6 parentheses. So we're going to do 3x cubed 6 times. 3, 4, 5, and 6. We still have some exponents. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we need to expand it one more time. So we have 3xxx times 3xxx times 3xxx times 3xxx times 3xxx times 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is our last one. And if you take 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, you get 729. And there's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 x's. So there is a shortcut, so you don't have to expand them out every time, because who wants to do that? So the power rule 2.0 is if an exponent is outside the parentheses, I should distribute the exponents to each base, and I want you to underline the word each base on the inside. So that's even the coefficient, okay? So let's look at number 1, and let's try to use this Power Rule 2.0 and see if we can do it without expanding. So number 1, the 2 is on the outside, the 7 belongs only to the x, and the 5 has an exponent of a 1. So what we're going to do is distribute this 2 to the 1 and to the 7. So 2 times 1 is 2. So the 5 is inside parentheses. It's going to stay inside parentheses. 5, 2 times 1 is 2. And then we've got an x. 2 times 7 is 14. Now we need to simplify. 5 squared is 25. And then we just drop down the x to the 14th. And that's my final answer, 25x to the 14th. It's a whole lot better than having to expand it all out. Let's try it again on number 2. We have an exponent of a 1, and we have an exponent of a y. or we have an exponent of a 1 on the 2. We have an exponent of a 1 on the y. The 5 is on the outside, so we're going to distribute the 5 to the 1. And that 2 is inside the parentheses, so we're going to leave it inside the parentheses. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10, so x to the 10th. And then y is 5 times 1, which is 5. 2 to the 5th is equal to 32. And then I can drop down there's nothing to do with my x and y, so I can just drop it down, x to the 10th, y to the 5th. And that's my final answer, 32, x to the 10th, y to the 5th. Number 3. We have 2 that belongs to the parenthesis. So anything that doesn't have an exponent, we're going to give it a 1, literally a 1. So the -2 gets a 1 and the z gets a 1. And then we're going to distribute this 2 that's on the outside to every single exponent that's on the inside. So 2 times 1, and that's going to be a -2 inside the parenthesis. So 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 4 is 8, so x to the 8th. Y, 2 times 6 is 12. And z had a 1, so 2 times 1 is 2. -2 squared, you must, when you type this in, you must have it in parentheses or it's going to mess you up. -2 squared is 4. And then it's going to be x to the 8th, y to the 12th, z to the 2nd for my final answer. Now we're going to build upon what we've learned yesterday and the day before by putting everything together. We've got to still take care of the parentheses first. So what we have to do is distribute first. 3 times 3 is 9, so x to the 9th, y to the 9th, and then we're going to drop down this xy squared, so times xy squared. Now what we have to do is everything is multiplied. There's no more parentheses. So you're going to add your exponents because everything is multiplied. Your bases are multiplied. So 9 plus 1 is 10 x's. So x to the 10th. And then y to the 9 plus 2 is 11. That is my final answer for that problem number 4, x to the 10th, y to the 11th. Number 5, we have to take care of the parentheses first. So the very first thing that we have to do is look inside the parentheses and see if there's any exponents that need to be wrote in. And the y needs to have a 1 so we can distribute. So we have 4 times, oh, we forgot to write in a -1 there. It's got an exponent of a 1. So I'm going to drop down my x cubed times. My -1 goes in parentheses. And then 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times x squared is x to the 8th. And then 4 times 1 is 4. Now we take care of our numbers, our coefficients first. So -1 to the 4th, you got to put that in parentheses when you type that in your calculator or it's going to mess you up. And that's going to give you a +1. Then you're going to combine your x's. So your x's are multiplied because everything through here is multiplied together. You're going to add your exponents. 3 plus 8 is 11. So x to the 11th, y to the 4th. x to the 11th, y to the 4th. Number 6, you got to get rid of those parentheses first. So we're going to ignore one side of it first for a second. We're going to cover up this side right here, and we're just going to work on this side first. So the first thing that we're going to do is make this -2 have a 1. The x needs a 1, so that way we can continue on. This -2 has to be in parentheses, -2. 1 times 2 is 2. X, 1 times 2 is 2. And then y, 2 times 2 is 4. Again, we're ignoring this side. We're going to simplify this side. -2 squared is 4. X squared, y to the 4th. Now, we can't just forget that side because it's really there. So I'm going to cover up this side now and simplify the right side. Again, the 3 has a 1. The y has a 1. So we have 3 in parentheses, 2 times 1, which is 2, x squared, which is 2 times 2, which gives you x to the 4th. Then you have the y to the 1st. So y is 2 times 1, which is y squared. To simplify, 3 squared is 9. X to the 4th, y squared. But these are all multiplied together. So you have to go ahead and simplify it this way. I ran out of room, so I'm going to go to the side. 4 times 9 is 36. Then you're going to add your exponents. 2 plus 4 is 6. Y, 4 plus 2 is 6. So my final answer is 36 x to the 4th, y to the 6th. I'm sorry, 36 x to the 6th, y to the 6th. Number 7. The first thing that you need to do is to take care of your parentheses. Any parenthesis that has an exponent on the outside, and that the only one is this one right here. So we're going to ignore these two, and we're going to work on this one right here. This has an exponent of a 1, and this has an exponent of a 1, so let's go ahead and distribute. 2 times 1, so that gives me 4 in parentheses squared, x to the 10th, y, again, 2 times 1 is 2. But I can't forget this stuff because it was actually there. So -3 times 2x to the 4th. 4 squared is 16. So I've got -3 times 2x to the 4th times 16 x to the 10th y squared. Now we're just going to multiply. Everything is multiplied all the way across. So you can just go ahead and add your exponents now. So -3 times 2 is -6 times 16 is -96. And then there's 4 x's here and 10 x's here, so that's 14 x's. And then we have just 2 y's, so y squared.